Hey guys, and this week we are going to be talking about what was one of my absolute most anticipated films of the year. Beau is Afraid. Now, uh, I was hoping for Ari Aster, all kinds of flubbing, Ari Aster to join the 3 for 3 club. Last year, we had, in my opinion, both Alex Garland and Jordan Peele joined the 3 for 3 with three bangers of films, three movies out that they've made, and three absolute awesome horror films. So, Ari Aster had a lot to live up to, not only to both those gentlemen, but also being the writer director of both Hereditary, which I love, and Midsommar, which I loved even more. What are we going to do with Beau is Afraid? Now, I will preface this again with saying this isn't exactly a horror film. So if you go into this thinking, oh, especially from the marketing, this is from the guy who made Hereditary and Midsommar, you're ready to have your mind destroyed. Like, it's not a horror film in the way that you think most horror films. This is actually a dark comedy, road movie that is the closest I think I've ever come to having a full blown panic attack. This movie is absolutely wild. This is a 3-hour pitch black comedic road traveling movie that is so filled with just sadness and anxiety and depression and family issues and all kinds of wild psychological things, on top of giant set pieces of walking around in like cardboard land, and one of the most insane and disturbing offing of oneself I think I've ever seen. Even more so than the opening of Midsommar, which that one's very gnarly. This one involves drinking paint, and it's done. It's just absolutely harrowing. Now, this is a movie, and number one, I have to give it to first and foremost Joaquin Phoenix, who is absolutely fantastic. This is his, like, as much as last year as I praised Mia Goth for both X, but more importantly for Pearl, and just the vulnerability and like the absolute emotional raw nerve you must be. He was in those movies. Joaquin Phoenix in this movie is just absolutely heartbreaking. There are so many times in this movie where you will almost like break into tears because of how just so inherently sad and afraid and mentally messed up he is. While also rolling through these wild scenarios to get back home for his mother's funeral. Again, this is a movie, I can tell you right now, this is a movie that I don't know if I can recommend to honestly any of you, because Amber watched it with me. I'm not quite sure. I never really got a direct answer of how she felt about it, but I could tell she was. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because again, this is a 3-hour film. I will say this, and when you think of movies like this, which there really aren't a lot of movies like this, I would compare this to a film that I like, that I know most people widely despise. I think this movie does what that movie did 1,000 times better, and that's Richard Kelly's Southland Tales. This movie, I think, handles a lot of the things that movie wanted to say, but but does it in a much better way, far more coherent than that film. Um, and again, as much as I enjoy Southland Tales for how weird it is, that's one of the reasons why I love this movie so much. That's what I told Amber. I was like, this may not be a movie that you love or even like, but you have to acknowledge the fact that in a time in Hollywood where, you know, superhero fatigue is a real thing, remakes of classic cartoons is a real thing, fatigue is a real thing, and there is a movie that's like, yeah, we're gonna be the wildest, most original to a fault thing you've ever seen. We're gonna be this pretty huge budget movie that's 3 hours long, so strap in for that. And it's just a writer director and a lot of actors going, like, really working things out. Again, and dealing with issues like, you know, the feeling of being emotionally abused by one's parents, sexual frustration, agoraphobia, the idea of never being good enough, the never being able to achieve what you want, always living in perpetual state of fear. All this stuff is just pounding you in the face in this movie, but because of how great Joaquin Phoenix is and how sympathetic he is, you are with him and you just want him to be okay. Even though at the end of the day, as a character, he is not somebody that would be considered the hero. In fact, he's so blatantly indecisive that it leads to such terrible things. Because he can't get out of his own way. And that again, this is a 3-hour therapy session of a movie that has some amazingly hilarious parts. Some of the most horrific things I've seen this year outside of, out and out horror movies. And it's just a movie that I'm so glad in today's age exists. And so that's where I'm at with Beau is Afraid. I think, in my opinion, again, Ari Aster has done it. He is 3 for 3. This is not one like Hereditary or Midsommar that I'll go back to a lot, if ever. Maybe I could go back to it here, in a few years to kind of reevaluate it. Now having seen the film whole, but I am definitely so happy that he got to make this weird, balls out, bonkers movie that is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And so for that, I'm thankful that it exists. And so again, I can't necessarily recommend it to you to say, hey, you got 3 hours to kill, watch Beau is Afraid. But if any of that sounds like, well, I kind of want my opinion. I want to know. I hope some of you watch it because I want to know your opinions on it. Even if it's just like, you're stupid. Like, that's fine. You can go ahead and leave that comment. Because I want to talk about this movie with other people and get their reads on it. This definitely is a talking movie. A movie that would definitely be something to be broken down piece by piece and discussed. I really would, and maybe if it's something that Nick checks out, maybe we could kind of go down and psychoanalyze together because it is such a bizarre thing, a piece of wild art. And again, I can't recommend it to everybody, but I am certainly glad it exists, and I'm glad he got to make it, and I enjoyed every second of it. So this is me telling you to watch Beau is Afraid while also being like, you probably shouldn't. So that's going to wrap up this month of September. Next month, we are in Halloween, baby. And not only are we in Halloween, but all month long of October, it's another theme month. Because who doesn't love a good theme month? And if you've been paying attention, I've been dropping subtle hints of what that topic might be. But it's only for you serious movie nerds. So hopefully we'll see you then in time for spooky season. And until then, call your mom. Just call your mom.